This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so we're official. We'll call the meeting to order. It's our first April meeting, so we're going to do the annual meeting first. It should go pretty quick. Normally Rod reads the beginning of it, right?
Well, you had to
So we can have Ron
Can everybody,
first.
well, we'll do that in a minute. Can everybody hear Rod? Because we're in a conference room today.
So the results of the elections were elected with Laura Everly, Ryan Felton, and Russell Fuller. They've all been sworn in. We're good to go.
Okay. So I'd like to make the following appointments for acting village justice. Is I'm gonna get these names wrong, by the way. Michael Greenidge. Village court clerk is Diane Gregory. Village historian is Stephen Bukema. Deputy clerk treasurers are Cindy Motter and Kim Norton. So then, normally we'd go around the room and read the motions, but since I don't know if everybody has it printed out, or that's going to be hard to do online, I think what we figured out is I'll read them and then somebody can second them and then we'll vote on them. Just to keep it moving. So be it resolved that Chemung Canal Trust Bank be and is hereby designated as a receiver of monies deposited to the sewer and general funds, community block grant and trust, and the trust, capital, and reserve accounts of the Village of Owego as of April 5th, 2021.
Second.
Laura. All right, and we'll vote on that. Charles?
Yes.
Rusty? Yes. Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. Okay. Next one, be it resolved that the first and third Monday of each month at 7 p.m. shall be designated as the Village of Owego board meeting nights and time. The meeting being held at the boardroom of the DPW Annex, 20 Elm Street, Owego, New York for the coming year. And providing that if we have any regular meetings were to fall on a holiday, the meeting shall be held on the following evening, a Tuesday at the same time and place.
Second. Rusty.
Okay, we got Rusty.
I think we need discussion on that. Because we're not going to be able to have meetings there at Elm Street for a while.
Can everybody hear Fran? Fran said we're not gonna be able to have meetings at Elm Street for a while. So we have solutioned that a little bit. The fire board has agreed to let us use the fire training center as needed. So
We said that as we.
we can. I don't know if we need to put it in here, if we just modify, you know what I mean? Like we normally do if we change the location. Right. Because we don't know what's going on yet with COVID and whatever, so. Everybody okay with that? We'll vote on that one, Charles.
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. All right, next one, be it resolved that the Tioga County Courier is be designated the official newspaper for required legal notices and publications of the Village of Owego.
Second.
Second that. Sorry, Laura.
Pick whoever you want.
I'm going around.
Okay, we went around on that one. Any discussion on that? We're good? Newspaper? Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Next one, replacement.
The third one down, registers.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say. Be it resolved that the town of Owego clerk and deputy town clerk are appointed as registrars of vital statistics for the village of Owego.
Second.
Okay. And any discussion on that? Okay, Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Let's see.
Fourth one down.
Uh,
57.
Yeah. Be resolved that the village of Owego personal mileage reimbursement rate will be the IRS standard mileage rate of 57.5 cents.
I second that.
There we go. Fran in there. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Be resolved that the finance/insurance commissioner and clerk treasurer review all insurance policies on the village property and buildings, including flood insurance, verify current status, and report status to the board. The second board meeting on Monday, April 19th.
Could you just take out that?
What do you mean?
They would have had that added.
No, I don't think so. So if you have the printed copy, I'm crossing out the last sentence, which says at the DPW annex.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion on
April
that?
19th.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, 2021, sorry. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Let's see. Be resolved that the planning board commissioner and the clerk treasurer review the Tioga County Hazard Mitigation Plan, Village of Owego section, Village of Owego Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan, and report the state of each and any need for revision if needed to the board at the first meeting in May.
Second.
One of those two. Okay. Any discussion on that besides, we did redo the emergency management plan, so we do need to look into that. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Okay, be it resolved that the grants commissioner and the clerk treasurer will review the status of all Village of Owego grants and report the status of each to the board, the second board meeting in June.
Second.
And we got Rusty on that one. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. All right, be it resolved that the Village of Owego procurement policy will be reviewed by the Finance Commission and the clerk treasurer, recommended for updates. If needed, will be reported to the board the second board meeting of April.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. All right. Be it resolved to have the wastewater treatment plant commissioner and the director of utilities, Tracy Babcock, I don't know why they listed him by name, review the wastewater treatment plant rates and make any recommendations to the board at the first meeting in January 2022 of any needed increases, decreases, or other billing changes needed to fund the operation and maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant.
Second.
Back. Discussion? Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. All right.
Ron, you have to second this next one, because
Yeah, it's already in there.
we figured that out ahead of time.
Motion by Mayor Barrett, seconded by Ron, if he goes along with
It's
it.
coming.
The notice of monthly Village of Owego Board of Trustees meetings, it says, and this is the legal notice with all the dates. I don't know if you want me to read all the dates. But it's the first and third Mondays. The only ones different are July 6th, because of the July 4th, and September 7th, January 17th, and February 22nd. Those are the only ones that don't fall on the first and third Monday.
Second.
We want to bother to put in there, unless unavailable.
All right, so we'll vote on that. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. And it crosses off the whole page.
You want to do the,
What's that? Yeah, so Rusty wants to make one motion.
what it's for the year? So the motion is to, the appointment of the law firm attorney for the next year. And we're gonna move to appoint Howard Hinman and Cattell for the, law firm for the village of, wait a minute, what did I say? Coughlin and Gerhart for the village attorneys for the next. Oh, that's for the next year.
3 of my Monday evenings for the next, year at least.
Yeah. Don't throw me in that briar patch. Who seconded it? Nate seconded that.
I don't know.
Second that.
Nate.
Ron will. Whoever. All right, we'll vote on that. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes from me.
On the back page, you got a couple of
Couple three, yeah, so, commissionerships. As long as everybody's good with it, we will stay as we are. So, this list is not right on the thing.
Did you write on the agenda?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. They have me as DPW and code enforcement. I'm technically nothing now. It's Charles doing DPW. Charles.
Yeah, that's just good.
Yeah, so it's Ed is finance, grants, insurance. Laura is OHP, grants, zoning, and planning. Ron is wastewater treatment plant and personnel. Charles is DPW, code enforcement, and personnel. Fran is EMS and cemetery. And Rusty is deputy mayor, fire, and police. As long as everybody's cool with that, we'll keep it the same for the next year. Any objections, I guess? All right, we've got a couple left. Let's see. Be resolved that personnel matters, including new hire interviews, will be handled by a personnel committee consisting of 1, the personnel commissioner, 2, the affected department commissioner, and 3, the department head. Personnel actions recommended by the committee will be reviewed by the mayor and brought to the village board of trustees. This policy includes full and part-time hires. And we just set up the personnel committee with the other lists. So. Yeah, you gotta change this one.
Who seconded that?
You want to second that?
I tried to, but I kept glitching out.
Either Ron or Rusty. Where you want. Any comments on that? Does this include, so I do have a question, does this include seasonal DPW people?
No.
Okay. Okay,
It's up to the commission.
okay. I just know he normally hires them pretty quick.
Yeah, he does.
All right, so we'll vote on that, Charles.
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. All right, be resolved. Oh, okay, this is a whole thing. Oh, this is about the open meetings law.
Yep.
So whereas the Code of the Village of Owego does not establish procedural rules for conduct of meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego, and whereas Village Law 4-412 gives the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego the statutory authority to determine the rules of its procedure. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego adopts a document entitled NICOM Meeting Procedures, page 5.5 through 5.9, as the rules of our procedure for the official year beginning on this date.
Second.
Any objections to that? Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And yes, and I have one more thing, two more things. I need to appoint Phoebe Morris for a 3-year term as commissioner on the OHPC.
So we need a motion for that. Yeah.
We need anything,
I'll second it.
That's it.
do we,
But we did that. The first two, I think that's- I
okay,
think we just-
so we think we can appoint us, right? Nate's looking. Do we need a motion and a voting on that, Nate?
Sorry, I was reading something. What's the motion and vote for?
OHPC member?
Is this the full term or is it an interim appointment?
Full term.
I'm gonna guess, or typically it'd be the mayor appointing with the board ratifying or authorizing the mayor if it's a full term. I'll look it up right now though.
Okay,
Let's do it anyway.
so we'll vote anyway. So I appointed,
So you're gonna appoint, you said, I'm gonna move that.
who was gonna, I think,
Just, you said,
All
I
right,
think Ed did
all
already.
right, that's fine.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
okay, yeah.
So
You do
we'll,
like everybody on the whole OHPC commission that's proposed instead of one by one? Just
No.
of clicking it up? No?
Nope.
All right.
Every time we do any of these things, we're supposed to do them one by one.
all right, so we'll vote on Phoebe quick. Charles,
Yes.
Ron, Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Okay, then we have the following as ex officio members for 1-year terms. Tamara Gates.
Second. Want to do them one by one?
Yeah, there we go.
Second.
All right, Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. And then same ex officio member, 1-year term, Christina Knickerbocker.
Second.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yeah.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. And the same ex officio 1-year term, Julie Nucci.
Second.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. And that's all the OHPC appointments. So I think that's the whole annual meeting. So now we'll close that 7:22. And we'll start the regular meeting. Ron, do you want to do a little prayer we usually do?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, I ask that you would look after those that are still being affected by COVID, whether it be physically, emotionally, financially, and that we would stick together as a community and look out for one another. And I ask that you would keep us as the board ethical to the best of our abilities to do what is best interest in the village of Owego. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So as usual in the regular meeting, the first item is public comment. See, we got a bunch of public on tonight.
I'd like to have my turn. Jim
Okay,
King.
go for it, Tim.
Two items, both having to do with the squad. One of them is that I recognized your approval of a motion for the clerk to review insurance and report same. I'd like him to, or I'd like some advisement in terms of whether the recommendations we had made earlier this year are actually incorporated in the insurance policies.
Okay.
That's the one item. The other item is of importance to the squad and our membership, especially in terms of recruitment and retention. We've been talking about an EMS department fund for accounting purposes in the village for some time. I've sent all of the email with a one face of a page of white paper suggesting the rationale for that. If that would be incorporated in the minutes, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, I'll send it again.
Okay.
I highly, recommend the fact that we have reached stability in terms of what we can expect from a revenue standpoint. And it's the accounting practices once we've established that to go ahead and run this thing as a business.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to the girls here and to do the accounting and the accountant. So I think we're going to try and roll some sort of, I don't know, separation, but account separation anyway in with this budget season.
Yeah, well, we really like to see it as a fund, as an enterprise fund, as the comptroller calls it. But as you have a sewer fund, we should have an EMS fund.
Right.
It's a business. It's a business. We should run it as a business.
That's something we're going to look at this coming budget season, which is coming up.
Yeah, it's now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Rod said he doesn't have that email. He needs a copy of that email.
Oh,
You could send it to the clerk if you like.
To the clerk.
yeah, it's clerk-v of Owego at stny.rr.com.
Clerk hyphen. What's the rest of it?
V of Owego.
B of Owego. Okay.
Yeah. Same as mine.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's on its way, Rod.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get that in the minutes.
Thank
Thanks, Jim. Anything else?
Not at the moment. Well, there's some stuff we should talk about offline, but not.
Yeah, I know. I saw you call me and didn't call you back yet.
Yeah. I've got some other items, but we don't need to take up the village board's time with those right now.
Okay. Public comment. Anybody else? So I see we got a bunch of people on from the Rotary.
Now let's do the Rotary.
Let's do that. Skip on the agenda down. The proposal from Owego Rotary Club to perform projects at the pool.
Michael, thank you. Can you guys hear me all right?
You can, yeah.
Patrick Ostrad. I am the president of the Owego Rotary Club. I want to thank, first of all, Mayor Beretta and the board for giving us the opportunity to talk this evening. And what we as a club are doing, we are celebrating, for those of you who don't know, our centennial year. So our club has been involved in the Owego community for 100 years, and we celebrated that December of 2020. And we're continuing into and through June of this year as our Rotary year. And this evening, we've got Margaret Rosenheck. I'll start with her, a club member who has put together and worked with a group as a committee from our club to bring together a number of improvement projects to the Marvin Park pool to beautify and take care of a couple of things there. So Margaret, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you speak about what it is you're looking to do.
Sure. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Village Board. Mayor Mike, is it possible that you can share the screen so I can just present like a formal, small PowerPoint to the...
You're going to get a pop-up.
Okay.
It's going to want you to be the presenter. And then you should get a button that says share screen.
Yeah, thank you. This won't take me long, but we just want to tell you, like Patrick said, sorry, we'll just go here. We are celebrating, Owego Rotary is celebrating their 100 years, and we have chosen Marvin Park Pool as a one of our gifts to the community. It has provided us with the whole village with a source of entertainment, not only during COVID, but other times. But it looks like it's going to be the same case this summer. Families enjoy it. Everyone is thrilled that we have this in our community. And there was even a thank you letter written to Penny Saver last summer by a village resident. Just so excited that we have this. So we explored this. I was on a committee of 8 people, and we contacted various sources in the community, as well as the lifeguards and the pool director, and we narrowed it down to 3 gifts. So we'd like to present these formally. First of all, we want to thank you, the board, because your annual jump into the pool every year at opening day became our inspiration statement. So we want to thank you. That was our go-to statement every day to get us excited about this, because we've been working on this, believe it or not, since September, narrowing it down our list. But it was let's make a splash together. So we want to thank you for that.
Yeah, like right, because you got to refill the pool after we do that.
Yeah. Okay, well, this slide was falling down, so is that dilapidated sign that's there, and no one can see it from the road. So we thought would be a great idea is to get an additional sign, make it more visible. So we contacted John Pitko from Artistic Landscapes in Owego, and he helped us design a sign, and we think it's really great. It's welcoming, readable, and it even included our inspiration statement of let's make a splash together. And it's got a nice pool liner background. It's 3 feet by 6 feet. It's printed on aluminum with white PVC posts. It's maintenance free. And we would also hire him to, install it. So he would make sure it was safe to dig in that area. He would use concrete to secure the sign. And we as a club would, dig around the area of the sign, mulch it, and make sure it wouldn't get destroyed by lawn equipment. So we thought that would look really pleasing and people would actually know we have a pool there. So we really like that. So that's our first gift. Our second gift is a mural, which is we're really excited about. So that's on the left is the wall that's facing Main Street, across from Price Chopper. It's bleak, it's boring. It looks institutional even. And so we thought we would jazz it up. So Larissa Hankey, she has volunteered. She's a local artist, and she would create a mural that would be bright and beautiful and welcoming. And she came up with a design of 2 betta fish, and she thought she was inspired because her mom, when she was little, would tell her sisters and herself to go in the pool and swim like a fish. So we thought that would be really a great idea to get the kids excited. Would also attract more attention that we actually, have a pool there and it's exciting. So she would take a week off in May to complete the project, to complete the mural, and we're really excited that she came on board for this. So that's our second gift. Our last gift.
Of those fish?
What's that?
Are you doing both of those fish or one of them?
Yeah, both of those fish. She was thinking of doing just something that was more colorful and vibrant in that area. She was thinking of 2 of the betta fish. Sorry, am I going too fast?
No,
No.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
This is our
I
last
know
gift.
in real life, you can't have 2 beta fish in the same tank at the same
Okay,
time.
well, this is her artistic rendering, we'll call it. So we could talk to her about that. I mean, she just was thinking of an idea that would make it, she's very good at creating that kind of thing. So we were really pleased that she jumped on board with it. Our last project would be, we talked to the lifeguards, needed new umbrellas. So we found 2 umbrellas, kind of like connecting the school, Owego Appalachian School District with a pool, making them blue and red. They would be made of Sunbrella fabric. So we thought that was a great need, to have some shade for the lifeguards and connect the school and community together. And then just lastly, we are passionate about presenting this project. We hope this would spruce up the area. I know you have a lot of projects through the DRI, but we thought we'd add our little bit more extra touch and just as our gifts and to enhance and make it more cheerful and welcoming for our beautiful village. So it doesn't look so bland and maybe make it more attractive. But as Michael Phelps said, you can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you get. And we just want to thank you for your time tonight. And if you have any questions, let me know. And so that was it. So we thought we were really excited about it. As you can tell, I'm just, it's a cool project. There's so much you can do down there. And we thought it would need some TLC.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Margaret?
Thank you.
Margaret, can you hear me?
So Margaret, I think those are phenomenal proposals, and I thank the Rotary Club for making them.
Oh, thank you so much, Ed. We really appreciate it. We are excited and we appreciate the feedback, hearing something positive, because we had so many ideas and so many great, like I said, we were a committee of 8 people and narrowing it down and making it viable for our community. We appreciate the feedback, but we're excited about it. So hopefully we can make this happen for our village.
Well, so 2 questions that I have are,
Yeah.
and again, very appreciated. So the sign,
Yes.
should the sign not indicate somewhere on it that it's the Village of Owego and not just the Marvin Park Pool, because it is owned and operated by the village?
Yes, we can tweak the sign. What we did was we put Owego, New York on the bottom banner. I don't know if you saw that. I could pull that up again. But if you'd like it to say, we were coming up with different ideas and we kind of narrowed it down. We talked to John Pitko and because he lives in the village. So, but we could put in there, anything. Like he's open for anything. So we kind of were just really like excited that we could get our inspiration statement on there. We could get the pool background. But if you'd like it to say on the bottom banner, Village of Owego, New York, or Village of Owego, what would you like it to say? Because he's up for anything.
Yeah.
Margaret?
Yeah, so I think we'd be open to discussion on that. The
Okay.
other question was, so the Village of Owego's colors are blue and orange, not blue and red, and I understand the tie-in with the school district, but I think we should discuss that before we get a blessing to this.
That'd be fantastic. Any input that you have would be greatly appreciated. And that was probably my mistake. I'm new to the area, new-ish, I would say. My kids didn't go to school here. So yeah, anything that we could get for input, that would be fantastic.
Margaret, so I expect that it's likely the Village of Owego, the Board of Trustees will take Rotary up on its offer and not wanting to look a gift sign in the mouth. But the details are part of the thing.
Yes.
We had a number of years ago, as our pool was falling apart and we didn't have any money, and we had the Vic Hooker Foundation give us a tremendous amount of money to keep that alive. And there is some thought in the community about naming that pool after Mr. Hooker in some way. So that's another discussion that we may have about something like that. Don't
Okay,
know.
fantastic. Yeah.
But once again, since John has just got a design for the sign and it's all changeable, that can all be figured out.
And I appreciate that. It's just the design phase. So we would appreciate any feedback, anything you want the sign to say. This was just a, like I said, a design, a proposal, and whatever you want written on the sign, however you want it. We just thought we would give it as a gift, but we're open for any kind of wording or verbiage you want on it.
Right.
Yes.
We just thought it would make it more visible, because we drive by there, and even John was saying he didn't even know there was a sign there, you know, so it would make it a little bit, you know, for the public.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yes, Margaret, this is Charles. I want to extend my thanks also to you and the Rotary for this addition. My only question is this going to happen before or after this DRI project? Because I would hate for anything to be destroyed or have to be done, moved or anything like that. I mean, it's great.
We are flexible. The only constraint we have is that we have the artist, Larissa Hankey, that can do it in May. She's taking a week off from work. She's, you know, just kind of like going to be at the pool painting every day for as long as she can get it done. So we would hope to have that wall mural done if that passes through the village board.
Okay. Mike, is there anything stated for that side of, we both familiar with that entrance there. We've walked up that plank many times. Is there anything slated in that area at that time to be renovated, or I know that area can be blocked off. Be when the pool is open, evidently, because there is another entrance on the other side. But that could be done.
No, I mean, as far as what they're proposing, I don't see any issues with any of it. DRI really. I mean, the only permanent thing is the sign. As long as we don't, you know, we put it somewhere where we're not going to dig it up and move it.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
hoping.
that's a great point. And I appreciate that, because we could hold off on the sign. You could decide what you want written on the sign. So I just, our only hope was to get Larissa, you know, done with a mural, if that's possible. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And get the shade for the lifeguards who sorely need it. But
Yeah,
the sign can be done at any time.
Mr. Mayor, I am going to be making a motion, I don't exactly know the wording I want to put in this, but the motion is going to, I haven't made it yet, but it's going to be to accept Rotary's offer of the 3 gifts and to authorize the painting of the sign.
Well, the painting of the mural.
Of the mural, not of the painting sign, the painting of the mural immediately, as soon as the artist is ready to start it, and the acceptance of the sign and the umbrellas with the board's final approval on the details of the sign and the umbrella.
Mayor, I apologize for interrupting, and I want to make sure, is Maria Fronick, I only see a handful of pictures. Is Maria Fronick on the call with us?
I'm on the call with you, yes.
Maria had one last thing, which was part of this, which is it's part of the Marvin Park bench. It's an additional gift from the Rotary Club that encompasses and goes all together here. So if you don't mind, and I apologize for interrupting the motion, but if you don't mind, can Maria talk just for a few minutes on the bench that's being proposed as well? Just so that I appreciate it. Maria?
And you did good, because I was talking about making a motion. I hadn't made it yet, so good timing.
Mike, can you, Mayor Mike, can you share the screen or let me
Yep, hold on, you're gonna get,
control it. Thank you.
are you on a computer?
Yes.
Okay, so you should get a pop-up that makes you the presenter, and then you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. Can everybody see this?
We can.
Okay, great. Oh, let's see. There we go. So this is part of the Owego Rotary Centennial Project, and this team was to think of some ideas to have visible reminders in the community. And as you see, our team there on the left, and our theme is in honor of those inspired to serve. And you will see how that theme is used throughout here. What we're proposing is a tree bench project, and the next slide will show you a picture of this. But we are looking to incorporate this bench at Marvin Park. It spruces up the park. It ties in with the pool project nicely. It's maintenance free. It adds value and extra seating. It's environmentally friendly as it's made from recycled plastics. And we're also planting a tree. It's very unique. I haven't seen anything in the area similar to this. And there's an ability to continue to promote our theme for those inspired to serve by potentially down the road selling bricks and plaques and things like that to adorn the bench or around the bench area. So the approximate cost to Rotary was around $2,700. So this is the picture of the bench that we actually have purchased because it was on sale and we didn't want to lose the sale price. So we were hoping that Marvin Park would be a great spot to put this bench and to plant a tree. And this is the actual color that we have purchased as well. So it's the black legs and the tan. So we've also purchased a kit, a surface mount kit. And, we would definitely work with the appropriate people to install this. Scott McDonald has offered his equipment, to dig holes and things like that, and to help pour cement if we need to do that as well. So these are the specs on this bench. So some future growth ideas here. Let me get this off the side. Were to, like I said, to add the plaques, we would definitely add, 1 or 2 plaques already, one from being, donation from the Owego Rotary Club Centennial, and then, in honor of those inspired to serve, that theme. And then we are potentially looking at, in the bottom right photo, is possibly, in the future, putting some bricks around there and having, people donate and having the bricks engraved with, anybody who served our community in any means, whether it's the military or through the village, right, a board meeting, being on a village board, or through community service projects. So this is what we're proposing, and this is just a cost estimate that I had put together. And then our path forward was to obtain the Rotary approval for the project, which we did, and we got our funds. We did order the bench, and was hoping that this definitely would be able to, be put into Marvin Park in a really nice spot where it could be observed by many people and used by many people. And then all the assembly and labor, right, donated by the Rotarians. And then we would take it to the Village of Owego for approval to put into Marvin Park. Obviously, that's today. And I would work with either W&W or Tioga Gardens on the best type of tree to plant because we, have to be careful of how big the tree gets. So, and then work with the village staff on a location. Make sure it's easy to mow where we put it, it's not going to be cumbersome, and then visible to the community, and hopefully somewhere near the pool and tie in with that project as well. And the time frame to install this, we were looking preferably the spring, just because the ground, it's easier to dig, and if we had to plant a tree with the ball and the roots, And then, you know, on top of that, there's less people in the park at that time frame. So that's all I had on this bench project. Are there any questions?
I don't, other than, where we, again, with the DRI, we have $1 million to spend in Martin Park, so let's figure out where we're gonna put it, where we're not gonna have
Want
to,
to put something else?
yeah.
And that is exactly one of the reasons we wanted to present this to the board is we've got an opportunity, and as Rotary has been involved in the community, we want to work with the village, with the board, with the community, and make sure that what we're doing is in everybody's best interest. We don't want to do something that's going to be there for a year and then moved. And so here's the ideas, and we'll look to continue the conversation to make sure that, okay, we've got our pool projects, we've got the painting, the mural, we've got the sign, we've got the shade, and then in the park, we've got our bench. We just want to make sure that you all are aware. We want to do this for the community. And I will tell this, Margaret and her committee had at least a dozen projects, and we look to continue to improve the pool, but a lot of it is being taken care of the DRI. So we want to make sure that everything that we are doing is in line with what the village is doing.
And so I will say the DRI is not set at all. I'm actually gonna give a little update in a little while on the status of that. We're in process of picking a design firm. So I would say as long as we do this stuff smartly, we can tell our design firm, you know, we already did this, don't mess with this, don't dig up this area.
Well, I would say it shouldn't be near where the tennis court is, because that's going to be.
Right, yeah, I would think if we keep it near the pool, it's gonna kind of be safe from the DRI, I'll say, you know what I mean?
So you just said something about wanting to do this in the spring for various reasons. Are you looking to do that in the next month or two here this spring? Is that what we're talking?
Yes, that would be the plan, you know, if it works with the village and the appropriate people.
So I guess the only hard part will be picking a location that we're not gonna, you know, that's gonna be its location forever. But I think we can work that out.
Yeah, and if it needs to go later in the year, it goes later in the year.
Well, we're not going to figure that out.
Yeah, well, yeah, we won't figure it out tonight, but we'll have to, maybe we can meet
Right.
over there, look at ideas or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Yep.
So possibly if we could put something together with whoever's from Rotary, et cetera, maybe whoever from the village board, possibly in the next couple of weeks, maybe we could take action on the bench next week, next meeting 2 weeks from now.
Right.
Meet over there, check it out, take action on that.
What would be the best way to facilitate that? Should we reach out to somebody tomorrow at the village to set up time?
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Sure.
The mayor would be some way to reach out to him.
Yeah, just let me know and I can be there whenever, basically.
Yeah, the mayor will take care of that.
And yeah, we'll get Jeff from DPW and probably Mike Howe and whoever else.
So you'll contact the mayor, or he'll contact you.
We'll reach out tomorrow.
Sounds good.
That's good on the bench. Now back to the other thing, or is it okay for the time being on the bench there? Now back to the others. What's the lady's name that's going to do the painting?
Margaret Rosenheck.
No, I'm not doing the painting.
Larissa Hankey.
Sorry.
Larissa
Larissa Hankey.
Larissa Hankey would be doing the painting. She's available in May, where she would take a week off from work.
So she's not on here right now.
No, she's in class. She has class right now. I reached out to her, but she's really excited about doing the project, and she's extremely talented.
So I'm going to make a motion that we allow. Are we back on? We okay?
No, we're good, yeah.
That we allow give the Rotary permission, allow the Rotary to present the three gifts, and that we allow the artist to start the mural of the two betta fish fighting because they can't be in the same tank. At her discretion.
That'd be awesome.
I'll
So that
second.
would- Yeah.
Ed. Any discussion on that?
I think we need to involve, either our code person or Jeff Jones was, determining if any preparation needs to be done to the wall before they start painting.
Oh, yeah, I assume the mural people would know that too.
Yeah, she knows. We actually took a field trip down to the pool and she observed the wall and she's confident that she knows how to handle that kind of material.
Excellent.
And prime it and do what is needed to make it happen.
Yeah, we don't want it to be peeling off. We want to make sure it's going to stick good.
All right, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long it will last, but I think she's confident that she could get it done. It would last a number of years. It's not going to last forever, obviously, but she would make sure that she would make it viable and last.
What if
We
there's
will
some
make
sort
sure that we
agreement?
do the proper application to make sure that one, it's prepped and then a coating
Seal.
over the top of it to seal it so that it's not beat up by the weather, that the peeling, just like any other painting, yes, the weather will deteriorate it, but we'll do everything we can to make it last as long as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, there must be a sealant or something for
Yes,
cinder
we
block.
talked about that.
All right.
And when she gets done with that, we'd like her to repaint the mural on the old Newberry's building here.
I mean, actually, her mom wanted that done because her Kathy's Cakes looks out at that, and she really wants that done as well.
We're looking at that.
Yeah.
So we could commission her to do that, maybe, possibly.
Every picture you see of Owego is that. So.
Yeah.
I think we're in the middle of the motion. We have the motion and we have the second.
That's just
All
for
right.
the mirror, right?
Just, well, and to go ahead with all this, to go ahead with it, we'll obviously help them when they need help. Charles?
Before I vote, I have one final question. Are we as village board members going to be obligated to make this splash every year?
Yes, that was yes. It was
Okay,
you
that is-
guys
You got
do
a
that.
yes from me.
It's a requirement. It's great. Everybody
Okay.
looks forward to it, myself included. So,
Back the way you're going to vote.
yeah, we should probably ask you first.
I know you folks are very generous and we appreciate it, but there is a question that always needs to be asked. You're asking for no contribution or expense from the village in this.
Correct.
Thank you.
No, this is our gift, our centennial gift. We're not asking for anything. We are giving this because we really, really believe that this would be such a great enhancement to that area.
Great.
Yeah,
Plain and
thank you.
simple. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Ron? Is Ron still
Ron,
there?
you there?
Right, in the corner.
We can't hear you.
Get a green mic for her.
We can't hear you. Nod your head up and down.
Say yes. Yes, Ron, yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And a yes for me.
Thank you, Rotary.
And
Thank
then
you.
Maria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're excited.
Thank you.
I don't think I can make you stop sharing, but can you stop sharing?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Let's see.
Okay.
There we go.
There
Did
we
that?
go.
There we go. Stopped.
All right. Thank you guys for everything. And
We appreciate your time.
Yes, absolutely. And to the board and Mayor Mike, we greatly appreciate the opportunity and look forward to these projects. And Margaret and Maria, for all the work you've done, greatly appreciated.
We couldn't do it without the committees, but we're really happy about it.
That's right.
Yes.
Hope for another hot summer and a lot of use of the pool.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to your splash.
We're looking forward to your 200th anniversary gift.
They have to rebuild the pool after that splash.
I'll be in a nursing home.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on now. We'll go back to department head reports. Start with Jeff. He's the first one I see. He's coming.
Do you want to go over the flood damage prevention thing now or later?
We can do it now. Go for it.
Yeah, I sent out the information and we just need to know whether the board wants to amend that or what.
Hey, Laura. Laura, you had some questions about the possibility of us removing the paragraph about the replacing fill with equal space for fill. Did you want to say something about that?
Well, what is there like a specific line, I guess, about so currently we so you have to modify the land, you can't replace, you can't push floodwater on your neighboring property or anywhere else, right? You have to replace somewhere on your property. If you dig, you have to dump on your own property. So you don't push your wastewater anywhere else, right, during a flood. So that's currently applied village-wide, right?
It's the reverse of that. If you build up, you have to make a hole to equal out the water. No, it's not if you dig a hole, you got to put stuff in top. You can dig a hole because you're taking the water. If you build up, you have to dig a hole. That's the generic of it.
Currently, our policy protects somebody from modifying their land and pushing off water, you know, into their neighbors, right? So what's the change?
You can't impact someone else's property, but that's a law. That's got nothing to do with flood.
That's doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing right now, the proposed changes that you want?
Right, that would still be a law. You can't discharge water to another piece of property. Period. You know, even your roof leaders, you can't.
Yeah.
So, Laura, it sounds like we have the protection now of that.
To go.
First of all, what I mean, if you guys want to amend this, we have to go. Nate has to write it. It's got to mature. You got to have a public hearing. So, I mean, I don't want to turn this into like a public hearing. I mean, I'm just interested in whether you guys want to modify or amend it or not. I mean, the way it is right now, you will never get any development in the village of Owego. And it's about time somebody said that. If you want to keep it a bedroom community, leave it the way it is. But if you want to try and reduce taxes at some point or bring in something, you're going to have to change this. There's no way around it. And quite frankly, you could fill in the hole where you want to put the art park, and it would make no difference in the world as far as the level of water. Just so everybody understands that, you would have to fill in the whole floodplain for it to even touch anything different than what it is. And that's all. That it truly does not matter to me. But we either need to start thinking about what's going to happen in the future, or or leave it the way it is. If you want to be a bedroom community and 10 years from now your taxes are 30 bucks a thousand, that's fine with me too. But I mean, we keep turning away we keep turning away stuff because you cannot build in the village of Owego.
Jeff, you send us around the information on the proposed possible changes to the language. Which one is your
Right.
recommendation again?
My recommendation is to get rid of the whole thing.
Okay.
And by that he means section 117-14, last pair of.
Yeah.
Little number 3, the last
B3.
paragraph.
Right.
Right.
And apparently, if we read this correctly, our law is more restrictive than the state or the federal, and we don't have to do that. So we would be able to get rid of that last paragraph, which is the one about having to dig up, once again, generic, dig a hole. With the amount of you take out. So the recommendation would be to do that.
I would make a motion to do that.
But we have to.
So all I need is some generic direction to put a local law together, you know, that reflects what you folks just said. There's no need for a motion right now. You know, we're just kind of looking, I think Jeff and I are looking for direction as to what to bring forward to introduce to the board. And so at the next meeting, I can bring to you guys a local law that shows this. If this local law is in line with what you're thinking, then you schedule the public hearing for that. And then of course, you know, we go through the rest of the local law process. If this is an idea that you guys want us to go, a path you want us to go down, that's all Jeff and I need. We'll start walking down that path.
But you do understand what he wants. He wants that, just what we just said, 117-14-3, that last paragraph gone. That's the local law.
Right.
Yep, I would say go for it, Nate.
Okay. So I guess that motion is for you to proceed to do that.
Yeah, we don't need a motion. There's no board action needed for this.
Right. I'm just looking for some direction of what you guys want. The other thing is to amend 195-32 areas of special, areas subject to flooding for special use permits. The way that it's worded now, all applicants for a building permit or a use permit has to get a special use permit. That means that if you want to remodel your kitchen and you're in the floodplain, you'll have to get a special use permit. We want to change it to say substantial improvement or new construction and use permits in areas, blah, 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 blah.
I think that makes sense.
Right now, the way that it's written right now, no matter what you do, you need a special use permit. Whether it's inside, outside. So it just makes sense to amend that to say substantial improvement and new structure construction.
Makes sense to
So
me.
on 195-32, I understand. Instead of all applicants for building, what you just said, the
Substantial new construction.
Right.
So is that something the board is comfortable with, that we want Nate to also do? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
So we'll, my plan will just be to, at the next meeting, it will probably end up being 2 local laws since they're different topics. I'll have those prepared and circulated. So then at the next meeting, you guys can actually see what the language does. And if you're ready to schedule a public hearing for your first meeting, well, actually, I think we're gonna need 239 review on the zoning code one. So we'll have to wait until at least the second meeting in May, possibly the first meeting in June for final action on these things. But that's the rough timeline.
Nate, this is Elaine. If you can move forward with the flood damage prevention law and you have to have 2 separate hearings. Sorry about that, but I'm not sure that the project we're looking at can wait till June to start the local approvals. So.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing would be whether or not we need 239 review for the flood damage law. If we do, then as soon as we have the draft prepared, we can trigger that 30-day review requirement. And I mean, Elaine, if you folks are able to get the 239 response back really quick, then
Well,
the board can
yeah.
hold pass the local laws at its first meeting in May then.
In Tioga County, we don't have administrative privilege for that. We have to go by the county planning board meetings. So that kind of, drags the process out a little bit.
When is the county planning board meeting next?
They're the third Wednesdays of each month.
So we could have the draft local laws to the county planning board by their April 21st meeting then, I think.
Well, that's due Friday.
Oh.
See, 12 days before the meeting, which,
Gotcha.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
if
so
you-
I mean, we'll definitely hit the May 19th meeting then, which is after the village's second May meeting. So yeah, I mean, unless someone wants to hold special meetings on this.
right. I think the developer has to start local approvals in June. It's their funding. They have to apply for funding in August. So,
Elaine, are you referring to the Temple Street development
yeah,
project you're talking about?
yeah. Yes, I am. I would say that in 2012, when our county municipalities had to adopt the new flood damage prevention regulations, none of them came before the county planning board for 239 referral.
Yeah, that's just the thing that I have to double check. If we don't need 239 for the flood damage prevention modification, then, we don't, and we can just move that a little faster. But the zoning one will definitely have to get.
Yeah.
But if they need local approvals by June, I mean, I think even the timeline that we've just talked about, the village board would be able to take action as of May 7th, or not May, June 7th. And then we could adopt the local laws as of June 7th, if they were so inclined.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right,
That's all I have.
that's all you got. Okay. Does anybody have anything for Jeff? Other than the flood
I have
stuff?
one question. I was asked this, what is the policy for pickup of discarded mattresses?
We'll pick them up for $10 plus the tipping fee.
Per mattress?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
A question for Jeff. With
Yeah.
the pickup of debris in the cemetery, when we put out piles of debris, can that be
Yes.
incorporated along with when you send out crews to pick up debris off from the streets? Can they also go up into the cemetery and pick up the piles that we create?
Yes.
Because, I mean, that's been neglected. There's piles of debris that have been there since like August and September last year.
Well, we chipped some up there the end of last week, but I understand we'll get better at that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If that's it, I will fade off into the distance.
I think that's it, Joe.
All right.
A wonderful evening. No, he's not.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Take care. Bye.
Let's see, who else do we got? We got Robin.
Yes. Good
Yes.
evening. All right, so the best way we can start with is the number of calls. We've had about 134 this last month. It's been doing really well, helping out each other, different areas that are short people. So we've been doing really well, covering each other. Also, the loaner ambulance has got a little bit of a hiccup. It needs a new radiator, but VCI is sending somebody up to retrieve it, to take it, to get it repaired at their cost. As we all
Okay.
know, when you get anything to choose, you never know what's going to happen. So, but that was one of the big ticket items that they would replace. So they're going to be doing that. I think they're coming this week at some point to pick that up. And let me see. Also, I was wondering about that recycle dumpster that we were supposed to get out back, because we still have not gotten one. So everything's going in the dumpster that it's not supposed to be.
Okay, checking that. Rod will check in.
Okay.
So, any idea how long we're gonna be without that third rig?
Not a clue. Originally, it was going to be going to down where we bet the ambulance is repaired, but the decision was being made how they wanted to do it, and so we kind of lost the opportunity for the one they had there. So now we got to wait and see what's going to be. When he comes to pick it up, we'll have more information as to when we should be getting it back.
Okay.
And we had some trouble with the valve stems, and we've got that taken care of, but that's just the way it goes because those tires are funky, and they've always had problems with valve stems. So other than that, I don't have anything unless somebody else does.
Anybody have anything for Robin?
Nice mug shot.
Stop.
It
is a mug shot. The faces are covered.
Tell everybody thank you for volunteering and always showing.
We shall do.
Let's see, we don't have, Jimmy's not on from the fire department. I know we saw him today. He said he didn't have anything.
I see the bell is finally out of the tower.
It
Kudos.
is, yeah.
That was Charles, that was a practice run.
Oh,
We took it out and see if it would go well, and now we're gonna put it back in and take it out for the real.
Yeah, the bell is on the truck, on the way.
outstanding.
No issues. Slid it out like an old couch or something. Pat, you got any comment on the bell? I see her on.
No, it went accordingly. We didn't. We had an inch to spare to get it out that vent, and it came out. No one was injured. It went surprisingly on schedule. I think it was out of there. I mean, we said noon. It was out by 12:15. So it's en route to Cincinnati, Ohio, where it'll be treated, sandblasted, polished, and they'll hang on to it till we get the steamer building up, and then it'll be back and reinstalled there, and it'll chime on the hour as it did in past history. So we appreciate the board's help in allowing us to do that, and it's another milestone in the steamer project that's been checked off. So on to the next one.
That was a question I got and didn't know the answer to, was whether it was going to ring or not.
Thank you for all your work, Pat.
We're gonna have that hooked to our clock in our clock tower, so it will coordinate with our accurate clock in the clock tower to ring.
Yeah, I'll make you the chairman of that project, Rusty.
Yeah.
Thank you to you guys and everything you're doing.
And we should have those trees hopefully cleaned up tomorrow next to the station, or a good portion of it. We got a work detail. And then after that, we should be at a point where we can work with Jeff and code enforcement and stuff on what we need to do to get the site ready for the actual construction of the steamer building. I think we're a little short fundraising wise, but looks like our golf tournament in June's at almost 60 teams right now, so that'll help. So you know, it's just a matter of putting together a little bit more money, and we should be ready to rock and roll. So
Awesome. Other than that, we don't have anything from fire. Tracy's not on, no. Ron, do you have anything from Tracy? Did you hear from him?
I talked to him. Tracy said he had
All right, so Tracy didn't have anything. The project's going pretty well. I think it's mostly done. Just closing out the last couple things. So, let's see, police.
Police, we have one thing, which is dog car, and it's on here for later. You want to do it right now?
Yeah, get it done.
Okay, so as you know, or should know, or hopefully you know, our dog car got deered. They ran into a deer and smashed up the dog car, so we don't have the dog car anymore. We have a temporary fix with our Ford Explorer, but it's not satisfactory for the dog. The chief would like us to purchase a brand new Dodge Durango, and it is going to be, I believe, state price, and the purchase price for this Dodge Durango will be approximately $31,000. There are currently over $20,000 in donations pledged to the replacement of the dog car from some various sources, including the GoFundMe source and including the insurance from the wrecked dog car that we had. So we have over $20,000 towards this. We don't have cash in hand, but we have $20,000 towards this vehicle, and we're hoping to have the rest of that money sometime in the near future. And so I'm going to make a proposal that this is a great price for a Dodge Durango. Anybody knows cars, $31,000 with
when it comes loaded up, right?
Loaded with a bunch of stuff, and also when it comes to the equipping it with all the dog things, the Broome County, I can't remember their exact name, but the canine group is going to volunteer and donate those monies to the best of our knowledge. So that won't be extra on top of this. So I'm going to propose that we purchase this Dodge Durango, and of course with the idea that we're going to have the most or all of the money returned to us in due time. And I'm going to propose that we take that money out of line A3120-20901, which is in the police department budget for computer software, which we had allocated $67,000 for to join with the county's computer software, and they have decided at this time not to go forward with that. So we have that money in that account line. So I'm going to move that we purchase this Dodge Durango vehicle, and that we take the money from that computer software line, let's say up to $35,000. It's supposed to be $31,000, but we always want to make it more. I'm going to say up to $35,000 because who knows why.
Hey, Rusty, I think the motion should be to transfer those funds to the appropriate.
From the software line to a car purchase line, which Rodney does.
Yep, I would second that.
The motion is going to be to transfer, unless it takes two motions, it's going to be transfer the money from that software line and to authorize the purchase of the vehicle. Does that sound good, Ed?
Yeah, yep.
That sound good, Nate?
Nate the Snake? Okay.
You also putting in there the return of approximately 1,000 from the funding source?
I didn't put that in the motion, but that's what's going to happen.
I mean, once we get that money in, we'll have to amend it like we do all the other grant money.
We don't know how much it's going to be. I don't have the exact details of that.
Yep.
So I'm not putting that in the motion. I do have the insurance. So I'm just here.
So yeah, we got a little bit of it. We got the insurance check. So.
I'll second that.
No, I think
Ed did.
Oh, it did, excuse me.
Does anybody have any discussion on the car? It's a decent deal for a car that we need.
We're gonna get a $450,000 new automobile, and we're gonna get it for basically nothing.
Is that 30,000 with lights on it, or we got the lights on it?
If we don't, I think that there are some donations available for that also.
I just wanted to make
but
sure you
that's
had enough
not-
money there.
But I did make it up to $35,000. But I don't expect it to be anymore.
Okay. So we'll vote on that. Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes,
Ron,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. All right, so I think that covers the chief and the status of the car. I saw they released a press release. They had over 20 arrests in March. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but good for the department anyway. They're
not to be said in a public meeting, but there's lots of stuff going on.
yeah. So they're out there on the streets. Let's see. Got anything from the clerk?
I got one, I got to transfer, this is just to balance the budget, we're gonna transfer $3,000, even from the judge security line item, and it's gonna go into the part-time police department line item. It's for the security they do.
That makes sense.
So we're gonna take 3,000 from the judge security line item, and we're gonna put it into the part-time police line item.
Is our- Okay. And the story behind that is our part-time police officers provide the security there, so. All right. Any discussion or questions on that? Oh, we need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion or questions on that? We'll vote on that. Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes,
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Laura? Ed?
Yes.
And yes. All right, anything else? That covers everybody. All right, next thing is minutes of 3/15/2021.
Laura?
Where's Laura?
Motion to approve the minute.
Second?
Okay. Anybody have any comments on the minutes? They look good, Laura?
Yeah, they look good. Thanks.
All right. Vote on them. Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Laura? Ed?
Yes.
And yes. Next thing is payment of bills. I assume everybody got the copy. Anybody have any questions?
As always, Mr. Mayor, have you looked at them and they meet with your approval?
Yeah, I went through them. Didn't see anything crazy. Just bills.
Bills. Move to accept payment of bills.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Who's that?
I think Laura got there first.
Or Red.
I'll give Laura a second, right? Rusty got the first.
Okay.
I don't care, I just.
Any discussion about the bills? Always fun paying the bills. Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. Next thing is trustee reports. Charles, got anything?
I don't have anything in addition to what we already discussed with Jeff. I just like to say that I got the privilege to watch our finest OPD and OFD members in action. There was a fire, a small fire on mine and Mr. Mayor's block at Green Street, which they came very fast. They were actually my morning wake-up alarm. Them, along with mutual aid from various areas, came. So I'd like to thank them also. But it was very great to see everybody in action there. And that's about it. I just had to say something, and that's something positive.
Yep. That was a little garage fire. They had it under control in a couple minutes.
Yep. Okay, that's all I have.
All right. Rusty?
No report.
Ron?
I've got no report at this time.
Fran?
Yes, I'd like to talk about the cemetery committee.
Oh, yeah.
There currently are 4 members on the committee, and we would really like to expand the size of the committee. I don't know what maximum size advisement might be. We need to do some recruiting.
Okay.
I think that's actually within the mayor's authority to appoint, right? If you made a recommendation.
We'd have to ask Nate how that works.
And I'm looking that up right now.
So I guess we'll research that. And
Yes,
figure
I
out.
mean, right now it's 4 members. It's hard to vote if everybody isn't there, you know?
Right. I saw Peter Gordon sent some info, rules, and
That was Friends of Evergreen.
signage.
That's not.
That's not the cemetery committee.
Okay.
That's Friends of Evergreen 501c3.
Okay. I didn't know if we needed to do anything with that tonight.
Mr. Gordon will present it next meeting.
Next meeting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and well, I should have mentioned more with Jeff. There seems to be delay with getting the tree service done. One company we had spoken with back in the fall doesn't seem to be available now, so we've got to find some other companies. But that's a comment. So the other item we need to deal with is the cemetery committee has worked over the winter with revamping the rules and regulations for Evergreen Cemetery Committee. Now I sent that out to email to everybody and gave a copy to Rusty. Essentially what it is we took this one particular format that pre-existed and took other items that were in some of the other previous rules and, you know, to bring it up to snuff. The main thing that we did change is closing the cemetery between January 1st and March 31st with no road maintenance in there. So Jeff said he was fine. He read this over and he said he was fine with it. Nate responded back with the email saying he didn't have any questions or objections. So I would propose that the committee approve the most current rules and regulations for the Evergreen Cemetery for the village of Owego.
Are you making that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, there we go.
Laura, are you there?
Shaking her head.
Laura, are you there? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that we had spoken of this earlier, and I know you had some thoughts about it, including one which was that we might want to prohibit metal detector people from metal detecting in the cemetery and or taking anything out of the cemetery or digging anything up the cemetery. That was I know we had spoken of that as a possible thing. Did you have any other thoughts on your mind?
Gracie,
What's that?
A list of like things that I didn't see in the regulations or, the proposed set. Like, like limiting metal detecting so that they did, or hole digging by anybody other than the DPW or cemetery committee, or set people. Um, and it didn't identify the fines or how they were administered. No, like, it didn't mention it, but I would like it to say no hunting, baiting, or trapping up in the cemetery land. And I wanted to, if Jeff had been consulted and he looked over it all, because there was like some things about what he would, some changes in like his acts, like when he had to be contacted for digging up services, plots and things like that, right? Road maintenance. Yeah. And like that, like it says, walking, and it limits not having like skateboards and bicycles, but maybe also like a little bit of further activities, possibly. I don't know, like ball play.
Why don't we go by categories? You're talking about under section A there, as far as the public use of the cemetery?
Yeah, like just some of the like permitted acts, and then also like what happens for fines. And also it could also, it doesn't mention use of fire in those, like
So, Laura, one of the things that I think we have to remember about Evergreen Cemetery is that under the village code, it's considered a park. And so everything under the village code that applies to all of the other parks of the village also applies to Evergreen Cemetery. So I think some of the things that you're saying aren't found in the rules and regs that Fran's group are covered under the village code in that sense. For example, I believe the village code probably has penalties and fines, penalties for offenses. If someone's found in violation of the village code concerning parks, they're fined $250 or 15 days in jail. And so we have to read those two things together. I think what Fran's group is putting together are just the rules and regulations and policies, but the village code still applies.
Okay. It didn't mention about the like memorials and the gravestones though.
Okay, let's go by section. What section are you talking about?
I don't have it in front of me.
And Laura, like again, the village code says no person shall injure, steal, or molest park property. I think that covers the idea that no one's supposed to screw around with the gravestone.
So Laura,
it says in here, I don't know where you're talking about it. I mean, it says no mining will be allowed to be moved without the DPW's permission.
Yeah, I just had questions that certain things weren't explicitly listed, and
so Laura, I'm gonna further say what one of the things that Nate is saying. So in chapter 150 of our village code book, it is the Parks and Recreation chapter, and the Evergreen Cemetery is one of our parks. So all the rules and regulations of a park count for Evergreen Cemetery. Plus, it's also in the village of Owego, so all hunting regulations are in effect in the cemetery. And then also the penalties or offenses are, as Nate said, up to $250 fine or up to 15 days in jail for any of the things in chapter 150 of the code. In the parks rules and regulation that Fran is talking about passing, that's not offenses from the code. That's a different set of circumstances, and the punishment for those things is, if I'm reading this correctly, is generally banishment from the cemetery. If you do break these rules, you you're not allowed in the cemetery any longer. The rules in the new rules and regulate, the old and what would be the new rules and regulations. So they are two different things. Although, as you mentioned, that metal detecting is not something that's in any of these things, so that may be something to add.
What is wrong with metal detecting?
Damage to the family's stones and stuff, you know.
Pardon?
Metal detecting in a cemetery on somebody's grave plot to find objects and then dig for those objects wouldn't be something that I would encourage in a cemetery.
Well, it already says in there that you can't dig without the DPW's permission.
Then
You
what
gotta dig in the cemetery without DPW's permission.
would you be would you be opposed to banning metal detecting? Would you like metal detectors up there?
I see nothing wrong with metal detectors as long as they don't dig in the ground. It says in here you have to have the DPW's permission to dig in the ground. You can't touch the ground, soil without DPW permission.
Well, the purpose of having a metal detector is to detect metal and then dig. That's the end result. If you eliminate the need for a metal detector up there, you will eliminate the need to dig.
The potential of any of that.
All right, okay, I would say probably under section A there, where what's allowed by visitors is add another item 11 saying all metal detecting by private citizens is not allowed in the cemetery.
Makes sense.
So maybe I missed it, but do we have Jeff's opinion of these proposed rules and regulations?
Fran said that he's seen them and approved of them.
Jeff approved it, Nate approved it. I mean, the only changes are, okay, anything in black was what was originally in this particular format. Any of the items that are printed in red were either carried over from another list of rules or were, you know, we talked with Jeff about, you know, how particular items need to be dealt with. So, I mean, it's not a total change, it's just including items that weren't in this particular format.
So have the village board members had an opportunity, I mean, I know that they were made available to you, have you had an opportunity to read these rules and regulations? Pretty much?
I mean, do we need to wait till the next meeting?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking. Have you had an opportunity? Are you comfortable with them? Or do you need to have another opportunity to read them before you're comfortable? What's the story?
I've read them. I didn't even think about the metal detector issue, but I do see a valid concern with that. I mean, not only is it kind of morbid, but there's nothing in the village code right now that limit it. So I think that's something we should probably include.
So I would recommend the trustees look at chapter 150 of the code, which again, that applies to all parks, including the Evergreen Cemetery, and read that with the rules and regs to determine if there's any gaps there that you think need to be addressed. The metal detecting, that's a fine addition to it. And that's one that maybe only applies, well, maybe you want it to apply to all parks. I don't know. If you want people metal detecting and digging up random holes in your parks. But, you know, it's just something to think about. Read the two together, and then perhaps at the next meeting say, actually, yeah, we want these other additions, or maybe you want a local law change as a result of this to make some of this, you know, not just set by rule and reg, but by law, and maybe then it applies to all the parks as opposed to just Evergreen.
I think that would make sense.
Have there been complaints of hunting in the cemetery?
What, Charles?
Have there been complaints of hunters in the cemetery?
No.
Has there been hunters in the cemetery?
Oh, hunters. Well,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Because the cemetery doesn't held to other properties outside of the village limits, that wouldn't, I don't know that there've been complaints, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody didn't step into the top of the cemetery sometime, but that's still against the law. It's already part of the law.
No officially filed complaints.
What?
No officially filed complaints like that.
Yeah, no. Nate, I did, I don't think it's a bad idea. I did just what you just said this afternoon. I looked at this proposal of rules and regulations, and I pulled out 150 and looked at the regulations for all the parks. So that's not a bad thing for if the village trustees want to bother to have a couple of weeks to do that, or however long it takes, and come and address this again. That's not a terrible idea. I'm going back to the metal detecting though. There's a difference for me in whether somebody wants to go down to Marvin Park and run their metal detector over where the fair is to find some quarters in the dirt where the fair was, as opposed to going to holy ground on people's graves and using a metal detector. So to me, that I would ban it in the cemetery and not be so concerned about it in other parks, my personal opinion.
Okay, well, we could add that as,
Yeah, number 11.
Number 11 in section A.
No metal detecting.
We'll put it on the agenda next time to say what.
Yep.
Approve, what do you call this?
Cemetery rules.
Rules and regulations for every cemetery. Is that working for all the other trustees? You got an opportunity for a couple of weeks if you want to look at the code, look at this, just to make sure that that you like it, or that you don't think we missed something real important. You want to wait 2 weeks and sniff at it?
That's my preference.
Yeah.
That'd be fine with me. Fran, that okay with you?
Okay, yep.
Let's do that.
All right. Well, that's
All right.
the only thing I had to bring up tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, Laura.
Well, we had a planning meeting, we had a zoning meeting, all the proposals were approved, or the projects and the permits. Also, OHPC filed their annual report, the RCLG, and it was a great report, many pages, and hopefully, Mike, you read it. There's like good sections about how the sewage treatment plant ties in with like the sustainability of the village and stuff, and great report. And anyway, so if that can also get filed with the minutes, that would be, or put on the website in that section, the annual report, that would be wonderful. And that's all for me.
Okay. Yep, I got that report too. Next is Ed. We got Ed.
Nothing from me. Bless you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next thing is communications. We didn't get much communications besides obviously the bell happened today. I did send out. I sent a note to everybody, but I sent out the questions that I had to the architecture firms, one to each one, and I didn't copy them on the same email so they don't know who they're competing against. With a request to join us next meeting, probably through this platform somehow. And we may have to figure out a timing thing so they're not on all on here at once, but I don't know, we'll figure something out. Maybe it doesn't matter if they're all in here at once, I don't know. But anyway, let's move forward. That's about it for communications. Mayor's report. Been a busy couple of weeks. Not much of a report. Been everywhere. Public comment is the last thing. Anybody got anything?
Mayor, just a reminder to the board that on this Thursday, April 8th at 7 p.m., we have a community meeting for the North Avenue Park. We sent out a survey last week and have just over 150 responses so far. So that survey will be open until April 10th. We've had really great constructive feedback about the park. I visited over 43 businesses and organizations last week to get feedback. And so things are moving along. So I will post a link to the to register for the meeting on Thursday, and also for the survey for anyone who hasn't taken it yet. And just I mentioned this to Ron, and I think I put it in the email, but in answer to his question about electric in the park and Design Connect. Design Connect will be providing the site plan and basic layout of electric, and then whatever organization or company you choose to do the construction documents will be responsible for the electric schematics.
Yeah, and just a little update on that. If you go to our webpage, villageofowego.com/park, there's all that information with all the links. It's also, when you go to our website, in the middle, there's a little section with tabs, and there's one that said project updates, which I don't think anybody's ever updated ever. I put it in there under a project with a link to the website. And it's also under the DRI tab. You can get to it from there.
Yes,
and
Abby.
you link in the chat. And that's on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We're going to have a big Zoom. And we are going to record it and hopefully post it to our YouTube page, right, Abby?
Yes.
Yes, Abby. Thank you for that information. I'm looking forward to that Zoom meeting. Yeah, I spent the better part of the weekend trying to explain to people on the social media about it. I mean, a lot of people are not familiar to what an art park is and say we don't need another park. We need to spend the money here and there. We need parking. So once they mention we need parking, I'm sure that they're not familiar with the DR projects that also include the problem of parking that's going to be made. So I am very much looking forward to this. A lot of people had some good ideas. I know I posted one of mine that I stole off the internet that I seen that I liked. And a lot of people are leaning towards the idea of a water park since it's in a floodplain. I think that makes a lot of sense that materials can be used that can be washed off and it won't be destroyed by water. So hopefully there's something incorporated in that. But I just want to thank you for the information that was out there. I was grabbing off of trying to explain to people, and I think I held them back with all the complaints about spending our money this way. They didn't realize it was money's coming from the DRI grant that we got. So I think I held them at bay. Wasn't anything too much negative other than parking and flood issues. So very much looking forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be a fun night Thursday night, I think.
It will be. There will be 24 parking spaces incorporated into the park grounds proper, plus there are an additional, I think it was 10 additional spots on both Central and North Avenue. So 34 parking spots. And then we also, I did reach out to the City of Binghamton's Parks Department because a splash pad was a popular recommendation. So I reached out to them to get an annual cost and how much installation for their splash pad cost. That the installation of that splash pad in Rec Park was $225,000. Actually, I'm not sure if it was at Rec Park or CFJ, but $225,000 plus annual maintenance, employees, things like that. So I'll get everyone the annual expense for that. And, we can move from there. It might be something that may be easier to maintain closer to Marvin Park. I'm not sure. So I'll send you all the information that I am able to gather.
And just as a general comment, so the DRI projects have a loose scope, I'll say, and there are certain bullet items like the 24 parking spots, and I think in the art park, it mentioned an amphitheater. So we have to put those things in order to get the DRI money is how it works. Right,
Yeah,
that's
there
where this stuff comes from, just for the.
major things to include as part of the park. An open space for arts programming with ease of use or ease of maintenance. The amphitheater, 24 parking spots. The village board had requested a fence between the park and Applied Technology. And then we're working with the host team to accommodate a pathway to the steamer house and make sure that the park complements each other. So.
And other than that, it's up to, as far as the design goes, it's open to whatever, But we have to do those things in order to get the money. That's how it works.
Jim King.
Right. Hey, Jim.
This is unrelated to the squad, but
Okay.
it triggered the conversation regarding metal detecting triggered the notion that you might be bargaining with unintended consequences here. One of the Rusty had mentioned, the fact that metal detecting can be done for other than the stuff that's buried. It's often done for surface stuff. And I can relate secondhand. One of my daughter's girlfriends lost her very newly acquired engagement ring in a park, and metal detecting was used to find that ring. You got to be a little careful about what you prohibit.
Okay.
And in terms of, I think what you want to do is prohibit stuff that's under the surface. Surface detecting probably is not a bad for
Right.
finding lost
Yeah.
objects.
It's a good point. Something to consider for sure.
All right. Other than that, I appreciate the board's enthusiasm for all the various topics you have to put under consideration. Just don't put the squad too far behind and all that other stuff. Thank you.
No worries. All right. Any other public comment? I think that's. All right. Well, once, twice. We have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Have a good couple weeks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Have a good.
Thank you. Everybody stay safe.
You too.